Greetings and welcome back to another episode of His Will for Your Life. I am your host, Sherry LaVon Harris, and I have joining me tonight is God's Child, the Brain Queen, who is the author of The Making of a Pearl. We hope that you will stay tuned. Please like, tag, and share this episode, and we'll be right back.
His Will for Your Life with Cherie Harris. This is your weekly Wednesday 7 p.m. podcast. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 29:11. Informative, hot topics, testimonies, interviews, along with your weekly guests and more. And now here's your host, Cherie Harris.
Welcome. Again, I am your host, Sherry LaVon Harris, and I have joining with me God's Child. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for joining us tonight. And before we go into anything, we're going to give you this opportunity to speak to our audience and tell them who you are and what you do.
All right. Well, my name is Minister Chanel Daniels, but I go by the name God's Child Chanel. I went by that name for years because I really don't focus on titles. I focus on who I am. I am God's child. And so I'm an author. I work with young people as well as a profession. I'm an educator, mentor, and I have a passion to get my story out, a passion to serve God, a passion just to be a servant. And so here I am. I thank you for the opportunity. I am overly overwhelming excited.
Well, I'm glad that you are. Just relax. This is a safe place, so you can be yourself. You can be transparent, authentic, and I'm not going to put you on the spot with anything that we talk about tonight. So you have a book, and
Yes.
I did read it, The Making of a Pearl. And you talked about your childhood. You talked about relationships and flashbacks. I'm sorry. And you also talk about being a strong woman. Um,
Yes.
how did The Making of a Pearl come to be?
I went through a lot. I grew up very fast, I would say, and I had a lot of responsibilities on me as a child.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, um, in the book, it talks about how, like, my grandmother raised me. And so when my grandfather would go off to work, I was the one ironing his work clothes, and she'll have me in the kitchen cooking. And she was a foster parent, so everyone was able to play but
Yes.
me. I
Wow.
was like the mom, the second mom in the house. And
Mm-hmm.
so I grew up very fast. Some may call me an old soul because I am.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the experience in my life, um, I just didn't want to see nobody else go through what I experienced. And so I started writing um, those tragic events. Some were some good times, and there were some that was bad times.
Mm-hmm.
And it touched me first because when I had to go back and read back what I wrote, I'm like, wow, you're a strong woman. You overcame so much. And that's why I came up with the title, Strong Woman, The Making of a Pearl, because um, pearls are very beautiful
Mm-hmm.
after they are made. The process is not beautiful, but, but when the pearl was created, you're worn. You're worth it. You're important. You're effective. You're noticed.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the same way of even living that Christian life after you experience everything that you have gone through. And when you change your life, you know, it shines.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people watch what you go through and see how you come out. And
Yes.
so the point of that book is to encourage young women, young people, even grown adults, no matter what you went through, no matter the obstacles, God will get you through it. Trust me, how I know, I wrote about it. So
Right. You seem to have a heart for young people.
I
Um,
do.
so tell us how that came to play. Was it because of your childhood?
That too. My grandmother had foster children.
Mm-hmm.
And so I became, like I said, little mama.
Mm-hmm.
So I was the one changing the pampers, running around the house, trying to be little mama. And so I um automatically, the nurturing spirit was upon me. So the nurturer is, in my life and who I am. And I always wanted to treat people that was connected to me or around me, or if I met you,
Mm-hmm.
the way I wanted to be treated as a child, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Um, and then I came in contact with just even working at a correction for girls 8 to 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And not one time did I have to restrain any of them. They called for me and asked me for advice. They asked to do Bible studies. They drew to me um, because I was transparent. I
Mm-hmm.
was, I met them where they were at. I didn't turn my nose up. I was open about, what I've done, the relationships that I've been through that affected me, the choices I made at a young age. I mean, I've been through rape, molestation, um, selling drugs, smoking weed, all that. And so I know if God can clean me up, my passion is to see people of God cleaned up, in any way that I can do it. Um, that's what came about with young people. And so I continued that journey. After doing a correction, I got into the career I'm in now, where I'm helping young people who fell between the cracks get through school,
Mm.
and being that model and helping them become a parent. Our children actually graduate out of our program at the age of 22, and by the time they come out of the program, I'm so still attached. I'm attached to them so much that they still call me, and they call me Auntie Chanel,
Okay.
because I just love them. I just love young people because they're hungry. I see what some people don't see. I see potentials. I see the next generation. I see growth. And so I go after what I see. And um, that's just me.
That's amazing. And while we're going through, we never see the full picture. We never see the outcome. But I often say what we're going through has nothing to do with us.
Right,
It's someone else down the line is going to need what we've been through. And
right,
because you've been there, you can tell someone that's hurting even if they're smiling, right?
right.
And that's why they stay connected to you. And so that's a blessing because our young
I,
people need someone that they can relate to.
yeah. And I think, like I always say, like ministry always started first in my home.
Hmm.
I have, well, 6 kids in total. One, of course, passed away 2 years ago at the age of 5 due to cancer. Um, but we're very a close knit family. A lot of people that know us, me and my children are very close knit because they went through the processes that I went through, the changes that I went through. Sometimes we think we so selfish. We don't think about what the kids are thinking and how they're feeling. And so, how I brought my family together, even when they were young, was
Hmm.
we would have Bible studies. We would pray together. We still do, even though they grown. I got the
Hmm.
oldest is 22, one is 21, and the other one is 20 and 16 and 13. I still bring them together.
Hmm.
We going they know mama gonna bring them together. We gonna pray. We gonna because church is where we at.
Yeah.
We go to the outside church to fellowship and to
Hmm.
commune with the people. But if you can't minister in your own home,
Mm-hmm.
how could you minister outside of your home? And
Absolutely.
so I can't work with these young people outside in the world and can't reach my own children.
Absolutely.
So my first ministry was them, and they have been my motivation. They the ones that pushed me to write a book. Mom, you got a story. When you gonna write part two? I'm working on part two now. And they encourage me. They push me. And um I just taught my kids ministry from the beginning. We
Mm-hmm.
would walk up and down Farmington Avenue and feed the homeless.
Mm.
I didn't post it. I didn't put myself out
Right.
here
Right.
because I want my kids to know it's not about what people see. It's about
Mm-hmm.
what God sees, you
You have
know.
to train
And
them. Yeah.
so, I took them out, and they know what it is to, pray for people that's less fortunate, and now I can feel real good on the inside when I'm doing it for the people outside
Mm-hmm.
because my kids have it in them,
Yes.
So
Yeah.
um the making of a pearl is what it is. I had to get the blonde hair to match the book. I'm a pearl.
Yes. Yes. How many actual unpublished books do you have? Because we write in our head. We have a lot
So
of stories that we just haven't published yet.
so right now I'm working on the Strong Woman, the Making of a Pearl Part 2.
Okay.
That talks about my struggles up
Mm-hmm.
until even the loss of my son due to cancer, and
Mm-hmm.
the fight that I had to go through with that, even the relationships that I was in,
Mm-hmm.
that had failed. And I'm not just talking about like a personal relationship. I'm talking about with friends and
Yes.
family.
Yes.
And so that book is there to encourage yet the single mom who's dealing with a sick child or autistic child or a child
Mhm.
that is sickly. So part two is coming. It's gonna be juicy. It's gonna be good, but it's transparent and it's my life. You know,
Amen.
it's my life. And then I have another book that I'm actually I finished it, but sometimes when you try to upload things, they say you don't have enough pages, and so I am working on more pages. It is a poetry book with my son in mind. So it's poetry that talks about the process, then the love that I have for him and the love that we shared. um
That sounds beautiful.
so I would say that was finished, but I got more to do. Apparently the Lord said that's not it.
Well, hopefully,
So
hopefully it's ready by April. That's poetry month.
yes, I am praying that it be done by then. And
Um.
then
Mm-hmm.
I have another book that is like the emotions. It's called Close Your Mouth.
Mm-hmm.
This is my poetic truth.
Mm.
Now that I wrote that after the making of the pearl,
Mm-hmm.
and what it is it's very and I'll make sure I send you a copy
Okay.
because this is uh very detailed, but it's heartfelt. It's the emotions that I felt
Mm-hmm.
poetically going through some of the things that I've gone through, some of those serious relationships that we all may get into. We all had a bad marriage or a bad boyfriend. And
Mm-hmm.
so this poetry book kind of breaks that down. Then I also have a journal that you can get with Strong Woman, the Making of the Pearl.
Okay.
And in this journal, I mean, you can write Monday through Friday. It goes through, Monday through Friday. And then when you get to the end of the week, it has a poetry that I wrote
Mm-hmm.
inside. Um, and it's very, like I said, personal. So you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna know because everybody don't have a good day,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes you gotta be real with people. Like just because you're saved or you're in a church doesn't mean you don't have bad days,
That's true.
and so you got to write it down. And when you write it down, you look back at it a week later or a month later, you'll be surprised. Like I overcame that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Right. So you talked about your son who passed away 2 years ago of cancer. Handsome young boy. He just made me smile. My favorite of him, in memory of him, is when he got into, was it the powder or was it flour?
Oh my gosh, yeah. You know
That
he didn't
was
get in trouble. That is
no,
the
I
first
know he
time.
didn't, but it was funny. It was everywhere.
You know, that's the first time he actually was like, I don't want to use the word devious, but
Hmm.
he's never like that boy is such an old soul that that's the
Right.
first time he did something like, boy, like, you know. So he got away with that. I laughed the whole time, but cleaning up was
I heard
not
you.
fun. Okay,
Yeah,
it was
I
not
can
fun.
imagine.
That
How
powder
would
was there for months.
really how would you help a single mom or a mom who is grieving or who has lost a child or dealing with a sick child? How would you minister to them?
um I think the first thing that I would tell them is get a prayer journal. Get a
Mm,
journal.
okay.
Um, uh, I write in my prayer journal daily.
Mhm.
As mothers, and as you know, like sometimes we wake up 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning,
Mhm.
and that's the time that I commune with God. That's the time that I write, um, and God has just been the base of make him your base of everything, like your rock, like everything, you
Mhm.
know. Um, I was unfortunate, like when I was going through that time, I couldn't you look upon certain people. I would
Mm.
literally scroll my phone, like who can I really call? Who
Wow.
can I really be vulnerable with?
Wow.
Um, and so I had to fight some of those days by myself, but
Mm.
I wasn't by myself because God was with me.
Mhm.
He comforted me because at the very moment that I may felt so discouraged, he always allowed either the nurse or someone come in to just give me an encouraging word.
Mhm.
My son didn't see me cry all the time. Like it really had to hit hard for me to cry in front of him, but I would hide that from him.
Mm.
I would have to turn that pain into a good time.
Mhm.
And then when he fell asleep, I
Mm.
wept.
Mhm.
And it wasn't until the week before he passed away and had a long conversation with me.
Mm.
And he told me my worth. You hear me? A 4-year-old
Wow.
told me my worth. And he said, I don't want you in pain anymore.
Oh.
And that means even though I thought I was hiding my tears and my pain, he knew the whole time.
Wow.
I said to him, what you mean?
Mhm.
You know, you're the one in pain. I don't
Wow.
like to see you in pain. And he said, mommy, he said, we are superheroes. We are here to save lives. And so he confirmed my purpose and what I need to continue to do. He was an angel from God. And I tell single parents, listen, when God gives you a child, that
Mhm.
is a blessing. That
Mm.
is an angel. And you have a responsibility to be that example and to be everything that you need to be for that child.
Mm.
And when you're feeling weak, find God and find someone you can really trust. One person, that's all it takes that you can
Mhm.
trust. You
Mhm.
can't, sometimes you can't tell everybody, but
It's
that
true.
one person that you can reach, that can really get a prayer through
Mhm.
and talk to you or whatever. I suggest every woman get that one person,
Everybody needs that person.
that you can just kind of empty out and you got to
Mhm.
empty out. You have to empty out. You're not going to do well if you're full of that pain, that
Yes.
baggage, and your kids really see it.
Mhm.
They were watching me. Well, let me see how mommy gonna get through this. I
Mhm.
had people on Facebook watching me. How's she gonna get through this? But I didn't even know how I got through it, but by the grace of God.
My God. Wow. You talked about a prayer journal, how you get up and write. You talked about, that's where you become most vulnerable. You write your thoughts down. How how do you journal? For someone who doesn't journal, don't know how to journal, I just learned how to journal.
Oh, really?
I just learned how to journal because I would just hold them in. I would remember them and I'll write little notes, but not to just actually journal like today, journal my day. So for someone who does not know how to journal, especially a prayer journal, how would you help them?
Okay, so I have three. I'm gonna tell you why I have three.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, three, the number for three is confirmation anyway for me. So I have three. My prayer journal is more so, for example, I give you an example. Dear Heavenly Father, you know, I thank him for waking me up this morning. I thank him for starting me on my way. I thank you for allowing my kids to be, you know, to wake up this morning as well. I thank you for life, health, and strength. And so a part of the journal, I'm talking to God. I'm having a conversation with him on paper. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just really writing a letter to God.
Hmm.
But you're praying. You're actually praying because people make praying so hard. But praying is just talking to God.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling him, first, I'm telling him how much I thank him and I
Yes.
appreciate him. And then I go into telling him, you know, God help me, give me wisdom, give
Mm-hmm.
me understanding of how I need to go throughout my day, lead and guide me. And so that's one set of a prayer like you could write in your prayer journal.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second one that I write, that that journal is actually really praying for other people. Dear God, save the lost, heal the sick. You know, your request, make it known for other people because we can't be selfish. We can't always pray for ourselves and not pray for other people. So that second one is the more so just kind of release. Even that enemy that's on your job, that book is for that. That second book is to say, God, even deliver me from that spirit because it's a spirit. It's not the person, it's the
Let me go pick
spirit.
up a couple of those. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
You know, and so that book is to kind of release, to
Mm-hmm.
release and pray for other people,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and ask for forgiveness, right? And then that last book is that devotion, that
Mm-hmm.
devotion you spend with God. You have time to talk to him, like, you know, or you know that sometimes they have the scriptures and the questions. Those devotions get you started throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that will definitely motivate your day. You can write your affirmations in those one of those journals. But I created three because for one, I want to confirm that I made my time with the Lord.
Yes.
Because sometimes that take a while. You know, when we talk to him, it may take a while. And plus it shows commitment to him because who likes to write 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning?
True. I keep a journal
So
by my bed. Well,
it shows
notepad.
discipline,
Yeah.
right? So, you know, that's a discipline area that you can discipline yourself in um to start to build that relationship with God if you don't even have one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and even if it's not it, let's not talk about it like it's about God. It is about him, but even those that don't have a relationship with God, that's
Mm-hmm.
just a way to release the pain, release your frustration, and you're putting it on paper.
Mm-hmm.
And so after you look back, like I have journals that I've written since, oh my God, 2010. I looked back at it the other day,
Mm-hmm.
and you can actually write a book. You can go back to that journal
Mm-hmm.
and you can write your story through those prayers. You can write a book through, you know, your prayer journal. That's a book in itself. And that's what actually got me to write The Making of a Pearl, because the flashbacks in that book, it also shows the prayers that I prayed even when I was 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Lord, save me from this situation. Take me from this situation. Is something wrong with me? Why is this happening to me? These are questions that we really ask God, and it's okay to ask them. I grew up in a church where they was like, you ain't supposed to question God. No, you supposed to.
Yes.
You supposed to. How are
Yeah.
you going to get answers if you don't question God?
Yeah. That
How?
that was me. Because in a Greek, why means how dare you. So it was like you asking him how dare he um,
Right.
does something. But you answered my question that I was going to ask you about. Did your journaling prompt you to write? Does
Yes.
it help you to write? So that's a great way for someone who wants to start writing, become an author, and publish a book.
Then you know that even in writing in those prayer journals that I found very unique, you find a pattern in your life. You will find, like for instance, let me just say February 1st.
Mm-hmm.
February 1st, I go back and I read February 1st, 2010.
Mm-hmm.
And that prayer that I read on February 10th for the last 3 years are the same day I went through something. And sometimes you can recognize those are the seasons that, you go through certain things in life. So there's seasons that when you look at those prayers, you like that this season I was doing good in. But this season, I always seem to lose these relationships, or this is the I learned those are the cleansing seasons for me.
Mm-hmm.
So even in your writing in your prayer journal, you notice, you won't be surprised when that time come around the next year. You like, okay, I'm ready for this. Now I know how I'm going to pray. So it's also preparation for your next season. If you really pay attention to what you write, you get to know yourself more. You get to learn yourself more, and you learn how to deal with people better.
And it also shows you how many times God answered your prayers.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember going to a prayer retreat, or several of them, and they will have you write, the host will have you write down three things, and you write them down, whether it's asking God a question, or if it's just something you desire or want, and they take it, you put your address on it, and sometime throughout the year, they'll mail it back to you.
Oh,
And when I
wow.
tell you, when I read it back, I'm like, wow, he did it.
Right.
Yeah.
Those are the
Your own.
amazing part. The
Yeah.
amazing part of your life when you see that overcame
Uh-huh.
obstacles that you
Uh-huh.
thought you couldn't even overcome at that time.
Uh-huh.
you know so I always tell anybody, these young women, um that you can make it.
Uh-huh.
You can survive
Uh-huh.
anything. God built us strong. I think even at the end of the book, there's a quote that I have from uh, Maya Angelou, and it says, there is a kind of strength that is almost frightening in Black women. It's as if a steel rod runs right through the head down to the feet.
Uh-huh.
I thought that was an amazing quote, and that's why I put it in my book, because we are strong women. We are built to be strong.
Uh-huh.
We give birth to children. We
Uh-huh.
be close to death. We go through so much, you
Yeah.
know, but God keeps us, and that is what's important, to be kept.
Mm. That's a whole word, to be kept. It sums it up, to be kept.
To be kept.
What does being kept look like to you?
You know, I'm in awe in this season of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So now to be kept looks a lot different from what it looked like before.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Being kept for me is not being so hurt and have my feelings hurt about what people say or think or feel about me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't fight every battle anymore.
Mm.
Sometimes I'm surprised at myself that I didn't lash out. I didn't, you know, there was a
Mm-hmm.
time where there was a time in my life, like, I fought every battle. I
Mm.
clap back real fast. What you say? What? You want to what? Oh, okay. I be on Facebook Live. I'm on my way to your house. Don't hang up now. Don't hang up now. We about to do this. But
Mm-hmm.
now I got to the point of, guess what? I leave people to God.
Mm-hmm.
I leave people to God. Being kept is keeping your peace. That's
Mm.
what, my kept is keeping my peace.
Mm-hmm.
2023 is a season of peace for me.
Mm-hmm.
And try it. I tell people try it because it feels really good. I'm in a safe place now, in a safe place mentally. I encourage therapy, even
Mm-hmm.
for people that's grieving. It's crazy. Even leaders and people that are grieving, therapy is important. We so used to people saying that, um, I put my trust in God. God is the only one that will get me through. But therapy is important.
It is.
Because if you don't get proper therapy, even a therapist need a therapist. So even if you don't get proper therapy, hurt people hurt people. You don't want to
Yes.
hurt people as a leader either, because you can't hurt people from the pulpit. That we
Mm-hmm.
trying to get people in,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Um, so I just encourage in therapy as well, because that is what gets me through as well. I'm still in therapy. I've been in therapy pretty much majority of my life,
Mm-hmm.
because and I have a very awesome therapist. I mean, she's spiritual and I get the natural, so I get the best of both worlds.
Mm-hmm.
But I encourage that as well with people that are grieving and going through, and also
Mm-hmm.
journal is your book, it's your story, your life helped somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
We don't, always say this, we don't live our life for ourselves, we live it to help other people. That's just the way the circle of life go. We're not here just to make money, pay bills, and
Right.
raise kids.
Right.
We're
Right.
here to reach other people and allow other people to grow.
And enjoy life.
Yes.
Yes. At any point in your journey, from your childhood, adolescence to now your adulthood, have you ever been angry with Most High?
Yes, I have. I have. I
How
went
did?
through that phase.
Mhm.
You know, there was a time in my life where I was married, and um I didn't see certain things. I was preaching, I was in Bible college, and I was like, God, you allow me to, a part of me was deliverance, deliverance, healing. And I would pray for people. You see people free, and the young people become free. And
Mhm.
it was a very awesome experience when God is using you.
Yes.
But when something happens right under your nose,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, God, I was doing Bible college, I was doing all that you called me to do. Why did you allow this to happen? How did I miss this? How did I not see this?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I would never preach again. I said, I would never sing again. I said, I would never do anything again.
Mm-hmm.
That was about 14, no, 14 years ago. 2014, I'm sorry. 2014, this happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't mount a pulpit until 2000, and I want to say 17, 18. I took a minute. I just refused. I tried to backslide. And then
Wow.
who gonna go to the club though, and the bouncer start giving you scriptures? I couldn't even when I tried to run, it was like, yeah, okay. God had somebody on the post at the club at the door.
He will do it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm not trying to hear that. I went over to the bar child, and he was talking about Peter. I was like,
Mm.
let me go. I got to go. So I was very angry with God at one point. And I would lie, I'll be lying if I say no,
Mm-hmm.
but what brought me back to him was his love.
Mm.
And he reminded me, look, I was here. I was when he give you a flashback and he show you what he brought you through,
Mm-hmm.
how he healed you, how he healed your family. Sometimes he just showed me my daughter, my oldest daughter, who is 21, 22. She might be 22 years old. And her name is Miracle. And he brings me back to her because she's supposed to be dead. They told me even after she was born, she should have dropped dead a long time ago, because 60% of her left lung was removed
Wow.
after she was born, because she had a tumor growing on her lungs. She
Mm.
was born prematurely. They removed 60% of her left lung, and they told me that she wouldn't survive. But she's standing here in front of me at 22 years old. Yes, I may lost the son,
Hallelujah.
but I seen the power of God.
Mm.
And then God taught me we all have an expired date,
Mm-hmm.
but we all have a purpose and a mandate. So we got to do what God has called us to do. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's what gives me strength to get back in position. It's a fact. All it takes is a memory to get you back into a
Come
position.
on. Come on. I remember
So
a woman saying that. She said, "We don't need another miracle. We need a memory."
exactly, because
Yeah.
that's what it takes.
Uh-huh.
That's what it takes. Because I'm telling you, I could have been in jail. There were things that I've done. All there was some things I've done, honey.
Mm,
that I could be still sitting in jail, but God,
mm. Thank.
and so I'm grateful and I don't mind telling my story.
Mhm.
I just don't like when people tell it for me.
Come on now. You better
But
tell it.
it's better for me to tell it than that person to tell it because they don't know,
Right.
So
Were you angry with God 2 years ago?
when I lost my son,
Hmm.
no, the reason it's gonna sound crazy to you,
No.
but I was prepared.
Hmm.
Um, and that's a part of the story that I am. My book will also entail is how prepared I was when I met the individual. The Lord already showed me who he was. The spirit, I would say the spirit, and I involved myself anyway when the Lord said no. And then when my child was conceived, immediately 2 weeks later, I knew that I was having a child and I knew his name. So when um I found out um my son had stopped growing in my womb
Mm.
and I went into the hospital, they said you need to start insulin, and I said I'm not doing no insulin. I refuse insulin.
Mm.
Long story short, I got the phone call while the people was in front of me. I'm like, why is the hospital calling me?
Uh-huh.
And come to find out, they told me it was a boy, which I was like, whoa. Then what I heard in my spirit is coming to pass because I dreamt my son and I dreamt that I would lose my son.
Mm.
But I kept praying that it didn't happen. And when I was told August 9th, 2019, that my son had cancer,
Mm-hmm.
I will never forget. I cried to one of my friends, my former first lady, and I said, his godmother, I said to her, but I had a dream he's going to leave me. So I know he's going to leave me. She said, well, let's pray for more time.
Mm.
So God gave me 3 additional years after I prayed that prayer. And so was I mad that my son was gone? No. Am I sad that he's gone? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Did I understand his purpose? Yes.
Mm.
Did he affect my life the way that God wanted it to affect it? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Has it made me better? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
Awesome.
I was prepared, but for people that's not prepared, I always try to encourage them by saying, I use the butterfly effect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had to preach a funeral 6 months after my son passed
Mm-hmm.
for my cousin who lost her 13-year-old daughter to suicide.
Mm.
And I said, well, God, how I'm going to preach this? But he showed me the butterfly.
Mm-hmm.
You never see the same butterfly. The butterfly has an assignment. It is to do its job. It's beautiful. It goes through a process. That means that process may be ugly because that cocoon, all that is ugly. They
Mm-hmm.
go through those process, but then when it's all over, it's a beautiful butterfly. But you never see a butterfly the same color, the same way, because we are all unique and we all have a purpose. And so when you see that butterfly fly away, it's okay. That butterfly has done that job. That butterfly have served that purpose, whatever purpose that is.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
You know, so it's beauty in a butterfly. They don't last always. We don't last always.
That is the transformation for me. When that ugly stage, nothing crawling around, and then turns into something beautiful. And that's what Most High does for us. You know,
Yes.
we look like we've been used up, worth nothing to someone else, not worth anything to someone
Mhm.
else, but he still had need. He still has need of us,
Right.
flaws and
You
all, and
still
he turns
need it.
us into something beautiful. Beautiful. So that's a beautiful story of
Mhm.
the butterfly. Butterflies are my favorite, actually.
Oh,
So
I
I,
love it.
I have them all over my house.
That's right.
Yeah, and at work. So, and my car. So I love butterflies
Yeah.
for the simple fact that they're transformed into something beautiful. And it reminds me of myself.
Yes.
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 Yeah. Well, that's all the questions I have for you, but I feel that you want to minister, and I'm going to give you that opportunity just to speak.
Um, I just wanted to encourage um anyone that's watching
Mhm.
that I don't care what you have done. I don't care if you sold drugs, you are in a relationship with a man, woman, same sex. I don't care what you do.
Mhm.
God is not like man.
Mhm.
He wants your heart, he wants your soul. He wants you to surrender to him. He wants a relationship with you.
Mhm.
And he is no judge zone for him. Because when he clean you up, he's going to clean you up. Man will force themselves on you to make you change, but it's all in God's will and God's time, and you let God be God in your life. And that right there, I feel it in my spirit. You let God be God in your life. He wants to take control. He wants you to love him. He wants you to worship him. He wants you to make him number one in your life. Just like that oyster, it's hard on the outside. It has a protective shell on the inside, right? And that protective shell, what that does, it protects the organs on the inside. I'm going somewhere. It protects the organs on the inside. So when like a foreign substance like sand gets inside the oyster, it builds a mantle over that substance, and it's called nicker. I be saying it wrong. And over time, it leads to the formation of a pearl. What am I saying? It may look, you may feel ugly on the inside, ugly on the outside, but God is protecting all of you, inside of you, outside of you. God is your protector. He has his hand on your life. He's trying to keep you. And so you allow him to do that, because while he's protecting you, he's building you. He's making and he's molding you to now you become this beautiful pearl. You become important. You're worth it. You're important to people around you. Your life becomes a story. How did you get so beautiful? How did you get through this? How did you get through that? And the reason why I can tell you that is because I've been through that. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes daily. Just because we are men and women of God, we fall just like you all. We fall like anybody else. And sometimes we get hit harder the most. But I tell you right now at this moment, don't give up. I know it looks hard. I know it look crazy, but don't give up. God has a purpose. God has a plan for your life, and you are worth it. You are the making of a pearl. You are amazing. You have to tell yourself that every day that you get up, every morning, you look yourself in that mirror and say, don't give up, sis. Don't give up, bro. Because God has a plan for your life. Jeremiah 29:11. That's my favorite scripture, because he has a plan for your life. His plan is not for you to deal with this evil stuff. He got better plans for you, greater plans for you. There's people waiting on your story. There's people waiting on you. So just walk into what God has for you. 2023, grab your piece and keep going. Do what God has called you to do. Don't feel inadequate, because that was something that I dealt with. I felt like maybe I'm not good enough to do this. Maybe I'm not capable of doing it. God said, no, you are more than capable. Your experiences caused you to be capable. What you went through made you for who you are. You know, God got you. God is going to cover you and protect you. And if you ever need prayer, find me. I'm on Facebook. I pray for anybody and everybody. I am not one of those type of preachers and ministers that got my nose is not turned up. I've made many mistakes. I have fallen and I still do. But the key is to keep going.
Mhm.
The key is to keep going. Even if nobody pick you up while you down, get yourself up and keep going. Because you have a purpose. And especially if you have children, don't stay down. Get up for them children. They're watching you. They need you. Even let's go for teachers, preachers, pastors. Get up. Keep going. If you had a loss, come on, don't put all that pressure on yourself, leaders. Don't put all that pressure on you. Talk to somebody, release. Then take some time away. Then get back into doing your work and come back stronger than ever. You can't fight a battle full of baggage. You can't fight a battle full of pain. You can't fight like that. Because if you're full of everything, how you going to use your hands?
Mm.
How could you lift your hands if you're full of baggage and you're bent all over? What could you do?
Yes.
So you got to release that. How do I release that, Chanel? How do I release? There's many ways to release. Go into your secret closet and pray. Go into your room, close the door. Begin to cry out to God. Just cry. Because sometimes you don't even have to say nothing. Because God, let me tell you something, the Holy Spirit will make intercession for you. So you don't even have to say nothing. Your tears and your worship is speaking for you. Or either go in your shower, whatever time that you can find by yourself with God, talk to him. Let it out. Release it. At least you know it's not going to go nowhere. At least you know he's not going to throw it back at you like, remember, I did this for you. No, he don't do that. We serve a loving and compassionate God.
Yes.
And that is the same love that we must show other people. And so I just want to encourage everyone. Keep going. That is the word for 2023. Keep going. It's going to look crazy in this season. I'm trying to tell you what's ahead, but you got to just keep going. Just like the woman with the issue of blood. All the people was in front of her. You can imagine what they said about her. You can imagine them, they calling her stinking and whatever. They was making her feel horrible. But did she worry about what people said? Did she worry about that crowd? No, she kept growing. She was crawling until she touched his hem. That is the attitude that we must have in this season. Don't worry about what's in your way. You move it out your way. I don't care how you get over it. And I'm talking about not get over death. Please, I don't want you to mistake when I say get over it. I mean, get over the mountain that keep you from going. And how you get over those things is to release those issues to God. And also get therapy. I am promoting therapy. I'm so serious. Because so many of us we take it for granted. We don't think that we need it. But we do. We do. But I am who I am today because I write in my prayer journal every day. I don't miss a beat. And I make sure that I stay consistent. I pray. And I go throughout my day. And even when I mess up, I pray where I'm at. I pray right in my mind. You ain't got to be extra. You're just talking to God. God is easy. He's not hard.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to encourage you to keep going. That's the word. Keep going.
Keep going. That's the word. Keep going. Thank you, woman of Most High. I appreciate you. I
I
think,
appreciate you.
yeah, I felt your help coming on, so I decided to get out the way.
Yeah. Listen, I already said if I can keep going for days, and especially when we talk about the goodness of God, because
Mm-hmm.
my life is a testimony.
Mm-hmm.
I may be 43,
Mm-hmm.
but I've been through a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've been through a lot, but God kept me.
Yes.
And I just want to see God's people kept.
Amen.
You
Amen.
know, so.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you for reaching out. Hopefully, we'll see you again once part 2 has come into play.
Yes.
And you just keep writing. Keep writing, because it's cleansing you, it's helping you, and in return, it's helping us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for being a light to our young people and for your children.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate this opportunity. You know, I do not take it for granted.
Mhm.
If you ever need me, I'm a phone call or a text away. I'm coming.
Thank you. Anything else coming up for you other than writing that you want to share with us today?
Yes. I'm actually working on a fashion show. I have a line that called it's the Plug LLC. I have an LLC called the Plug.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Plug is have merchandise, and it says God is the Plug. And so I'm hosting a fashion show in August. I'm working my butt off to make sure it happens in August. I also host one night of worship and cafe nights. So I have an event that is coming March 18th at 5 o'clock in New Haven. Keep an eye on that because I'm gonna post a flyer. One night of worship is gonna be young people. I'm so excited because I always tell people, if something failed, just keep going.
Yes.
Don't let nothing, no one stop you, you know. And so I'm excited of what God is about to do in my life. How you can find so how you can find my social media is the plug. So it's the Plug written twice. That's I have to keep it current. Y'all pray for me. There has been some hesitation since the loss of my son. Took some time off, but that's why I'm excited, because I'm doing the fashion show in August. And God is opening doors. This year is going to be amazing because the cafe nights and the one night of worship will usually be in Hartford, but now I'm extending it to New Haven, Connecticut. And eventually we're going to keep going to different states. So I'm excited. So March 18th on a Saturday at 5 p.m. Keep that in mind. And I will have the flyer up by the end of the week, or next week. But
Give me a
I'm
copy
excited.
so I can place it on this page so that others can see it.
I'm excited.
I'm excited for you.
I'm ready. I'm ready for the young people. Give me the young people. I'm tired of hard-headed old people. No, stop playing. I love young people because they on fire. And I'm telling you, God had just been dropping them. Like, what you need me to do? Anything. I'm here. I'm all in. And so I've been getting that feedback. So that's why I'm so excited even on tonight, because prior to this, we had a team meeting and things are going amazing. So keep me in prayer.
I sure will. If you don't have a book designer, I will design your next book for free for you. Just give
Thank you.
information, and I will make that happen for you, just to be a blessing to you, so that you can keep moving forward of what Most High has for you to do.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you and I love you.
I love you too. We're going to close out now. Please join us next week. For the entire month, we're going to be talking about building wealth through faith. And we have our first episode next week, and that's going to be on eliminating debt under that that series. Yes. So please join us next week. Have a safe and wonderful week. Remember, it's okay not to be okay. Just don't stay in that place. We love you, and we'll see you next week, if Yahweh says the same. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Please join us again next week for another riveting, informative segment of His Will for Your Life podcast.